How successful were the CRL Commission's hearing on the commercialization of religion and belief systems? What will happen to religious practitioners who refuse to be registered? How is regulation likely to impact the constitutional right to freedom of religion and belief? How does the Commission ensure that foreign religious leaders conform to the laws of the country? What time is it? It's question time. Khotso, welcome to the show. My name is Mkhwanazi-Xaluva. The CRL Rights Commission presented its report to Parliament a few weeks ago. The Commission embarked on hearings across the country as part of its investigation into the commercialization of religion and abuse of people's belief systems. The rationale for the study included gaining a deeper understanding of a number of issues. They comprised religious and traditional healing practices, regulation and compliance monitoring, as well as funding and financial accounting practices, amongst others. One of the key recommendations is for every registered religious leader to have a location where he or she conducts religious ceremonies, referred to as worship centers. Each would then freely form their various umbrella organizations. But what kind of resistance did this commission encounter during the hearings? We are live, and therefore you can call us and air your views. 089-1104-210. Our international number +2789-1104-210. Our Twitter handle at question time 2. For my guest today, Mkhwanazi-Xaluva. She's the chairperson of the CRL Rights Commission, and she joins me in studio. Mama, thank you very much for making time. We started discussing these issues, at the beginning of the week. Unfortunately, we couldn't get you into studio. But obviously, I know that you were in Parliament. You have presented your report. We know the findings. You are not talking very well about some of the practices that you have uncovered, some of which we have always known.
Yes, it was unfortunate. When we started, we didn't know the situation was this bad. There had been some media, sightings of people who were doing strange things like grass and snakes. But when we went in deeper, we discovered that there are many, many more problems. We thought those were just the exception to the rule. But we discovered that there are different levels of commercialization, financial abuse, emotional abuse, spiritual abuse of people in some of the churches that we have. But we also discovered that in the country, no one knows how many religious leaders are there, be they pastors, reverends, etc., etc. Where are they? What are they doing with people? Who's monitoring them? It's just the Wild West out there. You can do anything you like anytime you want to.
Okay. And one of the things that you have recommended is that religious practitioners or leaders should be registered. Who gets registered, the church or the mfundis?
Both.
Okay.
You see, right now what happens is that with the non-profit organization registration process, you register a church. If you want to, it's not compulsory actually right now. But no one knows who is in that church. Where do they come from? Don't they have some history of pedophilia or sexual offenses or fraud or whatever? No one knows in this country. So there aren't enough laws that will govern this particular situation. Hence, we're saying you can't be a standalone religious leader. You must fall under an umbrella that's going to look after you. Your umbrella would be like the SABC, CLEFA, SOSIC, Great Commission. There are many of them around the country. So belong somewhere if you are a religious practitioner.
So what happens to those who refuse to be registered?
you see, if everything goes according to plan in Parliament, it will be an offense to practice without a license. You can't just wake up tomorrow Mpo and be Pastor Mpo or Bishop Mpo, whichever suits you. You will have to be registered first and be vetted for the nation to know that all these people are safe and that we may need to see how we do these things. But the reality of the matter is, you have to be registered or else you'll go to jail.
Let's take a call here. It's quite interesting. I'm not so sure if this is true, but is it Pastor Mboro?
Yes.
Oh, well,
yeah.
welcome.
Yeah. I, Mr. Tsedu.
Yes, Mboro. I'm not alone. And can you just reduce the volume of your TV, please?
All right. You know, I don't just get an opportunity to be with the commissioner, so I had to, you know, hear my voice. Okay, I've moved from the TV.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking my call. Number one, I hear what this lady is trying to do, and she is playing with fire. She has done something, called it law, together with her commission, which was not law yet. This was a study. They started to harass and choose among all religions, Christians and pastors. They themselves, in the commission, there are Sangomas Kobela, who have a body that has its own problems. You look for a person to be the talk of commercialization, to be a Sangoma. You know, they charge them from 17 to 27,000. And Sangomas, they give people dirty, filthy hats. You go to Elof Street in Joburg, and you find that. In the rituals of being a Sangoma, they give them hot goat blood. That goat is not even checked its health condition. Some people, for healing, they have to cut them back halfway, and so on. And those things, they are not saying anything about them. People go to Sangoma, they pay to be there. And the whole thing, why don't they become examples themselves?
Okay, Ndatembo.
Yes.
Okay, just stay on the line. Let me just get the response. There's something that I want to ask you before you go off the line.
Well, I think Prophet Mboro has a right to hold his views, but he must be factual. I appreciate that maybe the report is too thick for him to read it and understand it, but he needs to ask his lawyer to read it for him, because he's been saying he's got lawyers who are going to do this and this and that. But for me, this is bigger than him. It's not about Prophet Mboro, it's about this nation. If he has done something wrong and we have laid charges against him, that matter is in the hands of the police.
Have you laid charges against him?
Twice.
What charges?
First and foremost, when we wanted him to bring his financials, he refused and he said he doesn't have a ministry. It's the media that calls it a ministry. He doesn't have one, and he banks in his close corporation.
Yeah.
And he entertains people. He's an entertainer, he's an actor, he's a musician, he's all sorts of other things, and people pay him to entertain them.
Okay.
So we said, it's fine, bring your CC account then if the church money is sitting there. He refused totally, because he's got this warped understanding of the Act. And the Act is very clear, the CRL Rights Act is very clear that if you need any information from anybody, you can summon them.
Okay, now, Ndatembo.
Yes, I'm listening.
Why didn't you cooperate with the commission? I'm sorry to use your airtime, but why didn't you cooperate with...
No. Number one, this commission has no integrity. You know, there is no truth in the whole thing. You look into what she's saying. The commission overstepped her boundaries. They accuse me, Pastor Chris, Prophet Khatebe, Bishop Zondo. Pastor Chris didn't waste time. She did that while I was busy renovating hostels when I was with the Izindunas there. Number one, she lied, and she said those leaders who called me because their hostels were gone, taken by the storm, they went with me to hear what is happening, what she did. She said those people were bribed. They were bribed by Mboro, number one. She had to account to them. Unfortunately, they were at home, and then a few of them went there, and she tried to the law and all that. Without any complaint. The papers of my church, she doesn't have that. I don't owe her that.
So you are not going to cooperate with this commission?
The law says, you must understand, we are talking of the law. My lawyer told him, even the judgment that was got by Pastor Chris, the judge in the Constitutional Court, told her that, she overstepped a boundary. And she lied about me going to heaven, which is a very serious lawsuit case. She calls me a fake, a false prophet, and I'm selling TikTok and all that. Who is she protecting, this woman? She's playing with fire. She'll never stop Christianity.
Dademboro, thank you for the call. We appreciate that. But yeah, it would seem there are some deep-seated animosities here, which we do not know where they emerge from. But one of the things which he's raising, which I would want to understand, did Pastor Chris take you to court to stop you from investigating him?
Pastor Chris went to court on an urgent application
to
say we shouldn't lay charges against him, because he said he is going to the High Court to challenge the CRL Rights Act. And we said it's fine if you are going to the High Court to challenge this thing, so make sure that you go there. The matter is still in the High Court. Because he said, in the meantime, please don't get me arrested. We said we are also looking forward to the High Court deciding, even the Constitutional Court, deciding on whether Parliament passed a wrong legislation. We are merely implementing the legislation, we're not drafters of the legislation. So Pastor Chris and I are still in court. So I don't know what these ones are talking about.
Itimeleng, welcome.
Thank you, Mpo. If I was President Mboro, I would support the CRL. Because the CRL wants to instill discipline and also maintain the dignity of what they are doing. If I was him, I was going to support it, because they want to promote what is good about what they are doing. I support CRL, and then I don't know why Pastor Mboro is. She's being insensitive to this lady. He's a man of God, but he addresses the madam, so this lady there. You see, I really don't understand. But CRL must continue doing their job. We don't need Maravastak here, Chakala dance. There must be control. People must abide to the laws. This right.
Thanks very much, Itimeleng. Thank you very much indeed. People must abide by the laws of the land. But now, how are you making sure that foreign religious leaders conform to the laws of the country?
Well, what we have also proposed in our recommendations is that there needs to be tighter control. Part of the complaints came from pastors from South Africa that there seems to be too many other people from outside. So we looked into that as well. And our recommendation is very clear, that if they are coming in as a scarce skill or whatever skill, we need to have a quota system of how many can come in when, and they need to belong to an umbrella organization. And the umbrella organization will then tell us that, there are these pastors from other countries who want to come in. We'll look at the situation and then determine what is doable. But right now, unfortunately, what is happening is that since they don't fit into any other category that Home Affairs uses, they just let them in and waive all the requirements and allow them in. So as of now, if you are applying and you want to have a work permit, they have to give you if you are from another country, and that's what Home Affairs is telling us. Okay. So we need a system to control that. Okay.
Francois, you are in PE. Welcome.
Good evening, Paul, and how are you doing?
I'm well. Thanks for the call, Francois.
Yes, I'm Paul. Paul, man, I think to resolve these problems, what should be happening? The government should actually get the spiritual leaders together and then sit and discuss. Hello, are you there?
Yes, we are listening.
Yes. You know, spirituality is vast. So, you know, a carnal person can never adjudicate over, you know, spirituality. If you go back in time, you know, the church per se, you know, who give guidance to government was actually governing. The church would give the lead over governance of government. And over the years, then things changed, where government would come now, you know, with laws, impose laws, and say you should follow this, and then you would have the constitution of, you know, the land, as opposed to the constitution of, per se, the church. Now, the church has got also, you know, a constitution whereby it is the church regulated by its constitution. So that constitution is actually, you know, passed by the constitutional court. Should each and every church that is actually, you know, regarded as a registered church, it should have a constitution.
Okay, and Francois.
Yes.
Let me thank you. I think the chairperson will agree with you here in that there needs to be some form of institutionalization of not just the church, but institutions of worship.
Yes, but there needs to be a professionalization as well.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Of
that's
the thing,
yes.
Because this is an institution.
Yes.
And like any other institution, you must have good governance. Where were you know, not in agreement with the pastors like Forsyth and all sorts of other people, is that this is not an occupation or a trade or a profession as espoused in the Constitution, that you can choose whichever one you like, but it may be regulated. They think they will be regulated in heaven, those that are objecting so much. It doesn't work like that. While we're here on earth, you must be monitored that people are not abused and violated and financially impoverished.
But now, people like Mboro say, why are you targeting the church? Why are you not doing the same with Sangomas?
Actually, something very interesting. An act was passed, I think it was in 2011, if I'm not mistaken, or earlier, about traditional healers. They didn't scream and shout like them. There's already an act that governs them, and they're now drafting regulations. They didn't march, they didn't bring buses, they didn't do anything, so they are governed. And those matters are continuing. The only discussion on the table is how the regulations will be structured. You say, to keep on saying traditional healers were not part of the investigation, they were actually. We summoned them as well, and they came without the buses and the drama. It's Mboro and them who came with the buses and the marches. The other ones didn't march. They came quietly. That's why he thinks they were not summoned. They were summoned, but they were well behaved. It's only those few pastors, which he has named himself, who decided to march and bring in thousands. What is this thing that they're afraid of?
Okay.
They need to tell the country what are they afraid of if their financials must be made public.
John, you are in Somerset West.
Yes, good evening, Mpo. How are you doing?
I'm well. Thanks for the call.
Yes, look, Mpo, I just wanted to ask the Commission a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to find out from the investigation concerning the Commission, was this only for the purpose of the Christianity church leaders, or is it traditional leaders or any other religious persons in the country, because it looks like only there has been the investigation concerning the commission is only for Christian leaders. I just wanted to get a clarity on that, if possible.
Okay, thanks very much, John.
You see, we summoned across the board. Jewish people came, the chief rabbi came himself. The Mulana who was representing Muslims came themselves. Rastafaris came, African religion came. They didn't bring drama. They didn't bring, even the Hindus came. They came quietly and did the work and left. It's the dramatic people who then made it seem like, oh, we're the only ones. But if you read the report, it cuts across. They didn't do drama. That's why they didn't make it onto television, because it was just a boring session. The exciting ones made it onto TV.
What is the problem between you and Mboro?
You see, I think Pastor Mboro's problem is that he thinks he's untouchable. He is above the law. The law doesn't apply to him. He needs to just read an act, otherwise he must find a new lawyer if his lawyer can't interpret the act for him. The reality of the matter is, if you are duly summoned as per Section 7 of the CRL Rights Act, you have to come. If you don't come, Section 41 says, go to the police station and lay charges. We have written to the minister, Mbalula, to say, we want to know when are they arresting him and taking him to court. He needs to be locked up and is at that stage. And we've sent people to him to say, if he complies, and he comes and he gives us what we want, we are willing to go to the police station to say we're withdrawing the case. He thinks he's above the chief rabbi and all other people who came. He's bigger than everybody else in this country. And this country is a country of laws. We need to run things in a lawful way. If he wants to do unlawful things and not follow procedure and then tell us about his lawyers who know everything about everything, we'll meet him in court. But he must be careful that he doesn't get arrested before he gets the money from people to take me to court.
Okay. Kansan, you are in the West Rand. Welcome.
Good evening, Mpo.
Hi, welcome, Kansan.
And good evening to Metoko.
Good evening, Puti.
Yes. Mpo,
yeah.
I have a couple of observations and a couple of questions for clarity from Metoko. I think my starting point will be, it is very unfortunate that at this point in time, in our very young democracy, the amount of animosity that we see between some of the religious leaders and the CRL is where it is today. It's very, very unfortunate, and I don't think as the Christian community would like to see that. We regard the CRL as a Chapter 9 institute that is able to protect us. But here's my issues. Issue number one, the sample size that was used in the research, scientifically it is problematic because it raises validity concerns.
Okay.
Number two, and the last one, the issue of self-regulation. Could the church, because this is the recommendations of the CRL, seem to have overtaken the processes of the church to self-regulate. Could the church not regulate itself like the media did,
okay,
so that all these issues can be addressed?
All right, thanks very much. Quite briefly.
Yes, that's what we are proposing exactly. You see, they can't self-regulate without any law that governs that.
Okay.
Because you need powers from somewhere. You can't just self-regulate and ask people to come in when they've done something wrong and you don't have powers to summon them or anything. So we want to empower them so that they can manage these people themselves.
Okay. Ma'am, we have run out of time, but I must ask you this last question. Mboro claims that you are a gobela.
Yes.
Are you a gobela?
You know, to tell you something, Mboro is the most amazing person when it comes to unconstitutionality. People have a right to belong anywhere, any religion, any belief. But unfortunately, I haven't had the call from my ancestors. So at my age, I don't think you can go and be a twasa and train, let alone to be a kobel. I don't think you move from zero to trainer. So it's just insulting a religion.
Okay.
And very soon, I'll be interdicting him because I'm sick and tired of Pastor Mbor.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, there seems to be something here between Mama, Togo and Mboro, which I'm not sure we'll get to know anytime soon. But yeah, I think I'm told there's a poll here. Where is the poll? Let's check where the poll is. But I'm sure it will be able to give us an idea of what we'd asked. Do you think religion should be regulated by the state? Of the votes, 50% are saying yes, some are saying no. So it's 50-50, so we don't know as yet. But hey, that was question time, and have yourself a wonderful time from me and the entire crew. I'm Mkhwanazi-Xaluva.